special bonus.
News, Delaware Valley's leading news program with Laura Pastorero and Rick Williams.
Good morning, everyone. It is 9 a.m. on this Sunday, February 5th. On Action News this morning, it's the morning after in the Delaware Valley, and frigid temperatures have put the roads in a deep freeze.
Philadelphia International Airport is playing catch-up as air carriers try to get their schedules off the ground again. And we are not alone. The entire Northeast is digging out. We'll tell you what you need to know to get around on this cold and snowy Sunday morning. First, though, a check of the frigid temperatures outside. Let's go to a warmly dressed Dave Frankel for the latest from AccuWeather. Good morning, David.
Good morning, guys. I'm not sure if you can dress warmly enough for this kind of weather. It is dangerously cold out here with a vicious wind kicking up from time to time. Let's show you what the combination looks like right now. We have a temperature of 20 degrees, winds sustained from the west at 25 miles an hour, and that gives us a wind chill of minus 14 degrees below zero. And there are even colder numbers as you look around the state. Pittsburgh has 30 below zero wind chills at this hour. Let's show you what's going to happen for the rest of the day. It will be windy and frigid. These dangerous wind chills will stay with us as winds are sustained from 20 to 30 miles an hour and gusting up to 40 miles an hour. Temperatures in the 20s and falling as cold air continues to pour in. Tonight, it is bitterly cold, still 20 to 30 mile an hour winds. And look at those temperatures, 6 to 10 degrees. So those wind chills overnight are going to be 20, sometimes 30 degrees below zero. Bitterly cold conditions, dangerously cold conditions. And Rick will show you what's going to happen the rest of the week. When we run down the 5-day, we'll see if there's any relief from this awful cold.
All right, David, we'll check in later. Well, most of the major roadways have been treated and appear to be in good condition this morning despite the frigid weather. Action News reporter David Murphy has been on the lookout for problem spots on the secondary roads. He joins us now live from Roxborough. Good morning, David.
Good morning, Rick. Yeah, it is cold out here, I can tell you that. I'm glad I came prepared for this because it's a real biting wind, and that cold is playing havoc with some of the roadways or some portions of some roadways. Behind me is Ridge Avenue, a pretty good example of secondary roads, and as you can see, overnight there wasn't any additional precipitation, not a whole lot of drifting here at this point, and many of the roads in the city you will find some dry asphalt. There are some wet spots on these roads, however, and you do have to be careful of those because just about anything that appears wet because of the severe temperature we've had overnight is now frozen. The side streets are going to be the big problem, though. This is just about what every street in Roxborough looks like once you get off the main roads. A lot of snow, and pretty much the stuff that you see wherever the tires have packed it down has turned to ice, and this stuff right now is rock solid. We found a number of people around the area who've had some problems getting out of their car, getting their cars out of this stuff as well. A couple of women who we talked to a little while ago who were trying to dig their car out of a gas station parking lot that they were involved in overnight, had sort of an interesting story to tell because they didn't plan to be here in Roxborough as long as they were. They came on Friday night and got stuck.
We're from New Jersey, and we have friends that live up here, so we came out to see them Friday night and got stuck.
And you've been here ever since?
Yeah.
And now you're hoping to maybe get back to New Jersey for a change?
Yeah, because we have work tomorrow.
Valley Township, Montgomery County we go, and you can see that a number of roads, particularly in Chester County, you can see that a number of roads in the outerlying areas are windswept, and down in these parts the wind has driven snow across the roads, and you do have to be very careful of situations like this because of the severe temperatures overnight. A lot of the roads that initially just had snow blown across them are now packed down and have a lot of ice. The other thing you have to be careful of is getting from your house to the street and the car. Many people were smart last night and took our advice and got their sidewalks shoveled early in the afternoon before all of this wind started and started potentially freezing over whatever you might have left on your sidewalk. Here in Roxborough, just about everybody has already cleared off the sidewalk, but any place where it is not cleared, you can almost guarantee it's going to be ice, very difficult to get through today and very tough to walk on. So be careful wherever you see ice or snow on the sidewalk and on the road today. Once you get out to the main roads, you ought to, for the most part, be okay today. David Murphy live at the Action Cam, Roxborough.
All right, thank you, David, and stay warm out there. Well, there are few trouble spots on the highways to report at this hour. Along the Pennsylvania Turnpike, an accident at the New Jersey Turnpike Bridge Connector has things bottled up. A truck has run into the toll plaza. Also, some icy spots to report at interchanges 26 at Fort Washington, 28 in Philadelphia, and 29 at Bristol, so be careful there. Now, in Norristown, some detours are up around a fire near the DeKalb Street Bridge. In Chester County, Route 10 in Valley Township is closed because of blowing snow, and the wind has forced speed restrictions this morning on the Commodore Barry and Walt Whitman bridges. While major arteries were plowed and replowed yesterday, side streets, as David said, in Roxborough got little attention, and that was good news for kids. When the plows arrived, the kids weren't the only ones unhappy. Jay Rhodes told our John Rollins he wasn't pleased with what he found after driving a plow himself all day.
Great day.
Give me a sense of what happened here.
I'm stuck in the snow, got plowed in. I was out plowing for about 18 hours, and now my truck's plowed in.
Well, we can tell you that Rhodes did get his truck out of the space, although it was not easy. And most of his neighbors are using a tried and true method to avoid repeats. Shovel out a space, then barricade it with chairs so you don't lose it.
And the Delaware Valley has plenty of company under this blanket of snow and ice this morning. From Washington to New England, everybody's coping as best as they can. As bad as things were here, New England really got socked, with the storm battering the shore and dumping up to 2 feet of snow inland. This was the scene in Lewiston, Maine. The skipper of this boat, you see, had his hands full with the pounding surf off of the Massachusetts shoreline. And the storm scrambled flights in and out of New York, which affected travelers, thousands of them, in cities all across the country, including right here in Philadelphia. PECO Energy is reporting just a few scattered power outages related to the storm. 700 customers are without power in the Downingtown-Chester County area, but crews are working to fix the problem and should have everyone back online shortly. It is a far cry from the tens of thousands who lost power last winter, when high winds and ice brought down power lines all over the regions.
And that is our coverage for now on the deep freeze dig out. Stay tuned for more, including a look at how you can avoid serious injuries dealing with the storm aftermath. We'll also have an update on roads throughout the Delaware Valley, plus how some folks are braving the storm to get out and about for some entertainment.
All right.
Local radar showing any precipitation and its movement during the past 90 minutes. Intensity is indicated by the color code at the top of the screen. You're watching the Weather Channel. Weather you can always turn to for accurate, dependable weather forecasts 24 hours a day.
Well, good afternoon along the eastern seaboard. Still good morning in the Midwest and back to the West Coast. We're going to talk about some tricky weather again developing throughout the eastern part of the country, this time in the form of lake effect snow squalls that are beginning to set up right now around St. Joseph and also right around LaPorte counties in northwestern Indiana. South Bend, you know what we're talking about. There's light snow in the picture, and it will become much heavier this afternoon. So Interstate 90 travelers, it could be tricky here, and also along Interstate 90 heading into northwestern PA and also into western New York, could become very tricky traveling come later on this afternoon. We've known what's happened during the last 24 hours. We've been following a very intense storm system up along the eastern seaboard. It crossed just about right over New York City yesterday morning and head just to the west of Boston. That's why you saw your snow change to rain briefly. But today the big story has to be the Arctic air, which is blasting southeastward now and beginning to cover just about all of New England. That will really set up those lake effect snow squalls later on, downwind of Lakes Erie and also Lake Ontario, and as far westward again as Lakes Michigan and Superior, from Traverse City to South Bend and along the south shores of Lake Superior too. More heavy snow is likely there. This is what's happened during the last couple of days. Since Friday morning, we saw heavy snow develop from the Appalachians northward. Of course, Baltimore, Washington, Philadelphia, New York City, even Boston all hit hard by some very heavy snowfall. And there could be some more developing as well, especially with that northwesterly airflow. Places like Syracuse and Rome, New York. Watch out around Erie, Pennsylvania, and of course Traverse City, Michigan, and South Bend, Indiana. More heavy snow is likely. It's going to be a fluffier type of snowfall, lake effect type snows that will be coming back into the picture this afternoon. We're looking at some of that beginning to set up right now, just on the east side of Chicago and heading over towards South Bend, looking at a northwesterly, more of a northerly trajectory of your air winds right here of your air. But come later this afternoon, the winds around much of the eastern lakes will become more west and northwesterly. That means more heavy lake effect snow squalls here, setting up later this afternoon. So you're not out of the woods yet near those lake effect snow areas, and you know where you are. Otherwise, we'll look at the Midwest right now. It generally is quiet now from Green Bay to Milwaukee to Chicago. It's rather breezy, rather chilly for the most part, and we're looking at high pressure to the north of International Falls, beginning to sink southward. Down to the deep south we go. We're looking at a minor disturbance in the atmosphere right now, beginning to cross the Tennessee Valley. Yes, it's cloudy around Atlanta, Georgia. You could see a flake or two of snow. Nothing horrendous, not really a big deal, but you could be looking at more cloud cover thanks to that disturbance, and maybe another flake or two of snow, and temperatures holding basically 40 degrees or below over much of this general area through this afternoon. The western seaboard looking at more fog in the valleys of California. Another stronger system offshore. This one arrives later on this afternoon tonight. So along Interstate 5 from Seattle to Portland down in northwestern California, there's more rain in your forecast too. We'll check on the current weather map one more time, the big picture. And again, we'll have to talk about the very cold weather which has invaded the eastern part of the country during the last 24 hours. Let's factor in some of those winds. The wind chill right now in Boston, 13 below, down to 28 below in Chicago, and 34 below in Buffalo and Detroit, also around Troy, Michigan, and you can see around right around Pittsburgh, it's down to 32 degrees below zero as of the present hour. Let's go to our radar right now. I'll show you exactly what's happening with some of those lake effect snow squalls beginning to set up right now across southern Lake Michigan. Places like South Bend, you'll be looking at more of a northwesterly airflow this afternoon, and these will be heading more towards the southeast. So for LaPorte and also right around St. Joseph County, you'll be looking at some heavy snow developing there, so travel is going to be tricky here for sure. Otherwise, we'll show you what's happening over the eastern Great Lakes at the present time. Not a lot is going on now east of here, but places like Erie, Pennsylvania, some lake effect snow squalls developing here, but they'll become more intense a little bit later on, then begin to move on northward in places like Syracuse, New York to around Rome, more near picture as well, developing later on this afternoon. Let's go back to the weather maps right now. We'll put those into motion and watch that big snowstorm for New England finally begin to wind down by late Monday afternoon. We're talking about some breezy weather still in the picture there. Sunnier weather in the southeast after a very cold start. We can see our western system begins to cross the Rockies by Monday afternoon and also Monday night. A good chance of more rain developing along the coast. Of course, we're talking about some snow. That'll be in the picture for much of the eastern lake states. Locally, another 1 or 2 feet there, with temperatures in the single numbers and teens, that's all, and dropping to sub-zero weather tonight to sub-zero levels across the Midwest for sure by sunrise tomorrow morning. And the forecast highs Monday afternoon, again, teens and 20s across the Midwest. We'll check on your weather picture now for the rest of the upcoming work week. And this look ahead, by the way, is sponsored by Holland America Line, now offering special savings on Caribbean cruises. We'll take a look at that forecast coming up It's going to be a cold one. Cold air and snow in place now throughout New England. It's going to be warming up very, very little now for the next several days. Some modification down towards the south, especially by Wednesday and Thursday, maybe into the 50s here. Temporarily again around Atlanta, Georgia, mid to upper 40s, and then you'll be dropping down again with more cloud cover and a chance of some more light precipitation. Otherwise, you'll still be in the teens from Minneapolis to Green Bay to Buffalo to around Boston, maybe the low to middle 20s there by the end of the week. But it's going to be a good chance of more light snow squalls developing there on Tuesday and Wednesday. Then a southern system by Wednesday and Thursday could bring some more light precipitation to the southeast, rain mixing with some snow, and windy, just plain cold for the New England states.